In 2009, the SISK Group will celebrate 150 years in business. Throughout our history, we have demonstrated innovation, adaptability, a willingness to change. One of our key strengths is the fact that we have strong partnerships and relationships with our clients and all of our key stakeholders. We are a family business. We have a clear culture. The family business allows us to take a long-term view, and it is one of our key competitive advantages. Our culture, we believe, is unique. It has stood the test of time. I would like to quote from you a number of values that John G. SISK shared with the organisation many years ago. We are vitally interested in giving the best possible service to all of our employers. This we do by delivering satisfactory work on time. Anyone who seeks to work or do business with us is entitled to just, courteous treatment. Across the group, our employees demonstrate these values and many others on a day-to-day basis.
In 1859, the 23-year-old John SISK, newly qualified and newly married, set up in business in Cork City. It was a tough time. It was only 11 years after the famine, and there was no social safety net. It's very hard to imagine the energy and resourcefulness with which he built up a business, which, by his death in his obituary, has a tremendous record. Not only banks, even bank headquarters, schools, libraries, and many public buildings, and no fewer than 30 churches. So it happened that in 1906, the company fell on hard times, and the company had to be rescued. Now, at that time, John SISK's son, John Valentine SISK, who had started life as a carpenter, rejoined the company, and from then on it became known as John SISK & Son and remains so today. His largest contract was the Cork City Hall in the late 1920s. This was a particularly significant contract, not just for its prominence, but it also marked the arrival into the company of his son, the third John SISK, who was John G. SISK. In the 1930s, the hungry 30s, with the Great Depression worldwide, work dried up in Cork, and John G. SISK found that he had to move to Dublin to establish the business in Virgin territory outside of Munster. It was like emigrating. It was a seriously big challenge, and yet that was the move which caused the company to become the national company it is now, and indeed international. After the war years, the company expanded rapidly. It was helped by the hospital building programme of the new government. Indeed, the £1 million contract for the hospital for TB patients was the largest contract ever signed in Ireland, and yet after he won that by tender, 2 months later, he won 2 more similar contracts. However, 1958 saw yet another slump, and at this time the firm expanded in a different direction. We had to travel to find work, and John G. SISK found work in Africa, eventually completing contracts in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Botswana and Nigeria.
Construction to me is all about people, and that's, in case of SISK, that's a resource which we have in abundance. Over the years, we've built up this tremendous loyalty from people.
I wish to speak briefly about a number of our milestone projects. I've chosen 3 from the past and 3 from the present. The 3 from the past are Duxford Air Museum. It was designed by Norman Foster and won the Sterling Prize for Architecture in the year in which it was built. County Hall in London. In itself, it's a landmark building on the Thames, close to the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben and London Eye. We converted County Hall into 2 hotels. The third is Dickens Heath in Birmingham, which is a large mixed use for a repeat client of ours. It is very unusual because it combines modern building techniques with traditional, even classical architecture. The 3 projects I've chosen from the present are Grosvenor House in London. It is situated on Park Lane and will involve building serviced apartments to a 6-star standard. Next, I've chosen Wembley because we've done a number of projects there for a repeat client It is large in scale and is a good mix of both leisure and residential projects. The third I've chosen is Chancery Place, which is a modern office building in the heart of Manchester.
The job that stands out, and I suppose in many ways because it was the biggest job we ever did, was Dundrum Shopping Centre. The effort and intensity of that project, I guess in my career it won't be repeated again. That's what makes me most proud of being in the company, is that sense of delivery. We committed to our clients and we deliver what we say we'll do. The National Conference Centre and within the Spencer Dock complex is another project which I think when it's completed will be something we'll be really proud of, and we again have the great opportunity as a company to be involved in this project. And across the river then there's the Grand Canal Square Theatre and offices. And I can't forget, even though it's a few years back now, is Croke Park. I think every time I go to a match there and you look around and you see the stadium, you can only be proud of the ability, the capability and in essence what the people in SISK have delivered.
In 1939, when building the hospital in Castlereagh in Roscommon, we needed a constant supply of limestone. Again, John G. SISK, recognising the need for this, bought our first quarry in Ballinasloe. From that business, we have developed a business today we call Stone Development. When John G. SISK wanted to bring the first power tools into Ireland for our construction business, he went to a fair in Hanover in Germany, found his first tools for Bosch, buying them as a normal supplier. A number of years later, Bosch approached us and asked us to represent Bosch in Ireland across their full range of products. Today, that business, which we call Origo, represents many of the greatest brands that are sold here. Another one of our companies is in partnership with CRH, another great Irish company, in a company called William Cox, which is one of the largest specialist contractors in architectural glazing in Ireland. Our property company, Corrine, is built on having strong working relationships with all of our property development partners. In 2005, our shareholders asked us to look at other diversification opportunities for the group. We chose healthcare. In the last 2 years, we have developed a business we call SISK Healthcare by acquiring 5 companies. MED Surgical, Cardiac Services, Beaver Medical, Technosurgical, and Synapse Medical are now all proud members of the SISK Group.
As the foreign direct investment arrived in Ireland, principally from America, and most recently, for example, with the pharmaceutical sector.
Centacor is a pharmaceutical project for Johnson & Johnson in Cork. Again, the client here was smart in how I procured it. We were appointed as construction managers in the same week as they appointed their design team. So immediately you had this sense of teamwork between the client, the designers and the contractor.
Looking to the future, the group has a clear vision. We want to create a diversified business built on the fact that we're a family business with a clear set of values. We want profitable business that delivers sustainable, predictable results for our shareholders, for our employees, and for all of our partners. We have a clear strategy. We know what we're going to do. With our history, we have a clear set of values. We have an ability to manage change, and I know we will manage the many challenges that will come our way in the many years ahead. We are extremely fortunate to have committed shareholders who have in the past shown their commitment to us and will for the future. We have tremendous partnerships with our clients and all of our other stakeholders that work with us. And I also really need to acknowledge and thank the employees who have, over the last 150 years, demonstrated their loyalty and commitment to us, and I know will continue to do so in the future.
Under his leadership, we can say that the firm ventured where others merely speculated.